Hey everybody, Daniel Franklin here, SouthernCharmHolsters.com, and today we're going to be making a little pocket holster for this Black Widow. Actually, the one that I'm doing it for has got the adjustable sights, which will be raised a little bit, so we'll leave a little extra room for those sights. But I'll show you how I did it. I've done case metal leather. Now the case leather, you just take a sponge and you dampen it and you go all over your leather. If you get a drop on it, you want to make sure that you get the rest of it even, so they don't leave watermarks. But we have a number 3 beveler here. We're going to go around and bevel our edges. Like so. When you work in leather, your edges are very important. It's kind of how you tell the difference in the quality of a lot of leather work, is how well the edges are finished. So let's bevel this top part here. We don't have to worry about the sides so much, because when it's done, those will be beveled and finished too. Okay, now I'm going to start out by putting a Black Widow spider on here. So let's find our spider. Here she is. This holster will be bent like this, folded. Now laser, when I cut it out, I cut all my patterns on laser. It marks my stitch line for me, which is real handy. We're going to put our spider at an angle here, kind of like right here. Let's get our tool. Now if you have leather stamps, I suggest getting one of the heavy duty tools like this, because if you just put the ones that just go in the center part, you'll end up wearing your stamps out a lot faster. Barry King maul. Alright, there's our spider. Put it back up. Another thing this holster gets is a little Punisher skull. Bend this around, figure out exactly where I want it to go. We know our snap will be right there, so we want this skull to be right beside that snap. So he'll be about right here. Come around with it. Let's hammer him on there. Make him a little bit darker. Snap. When you do this, if you'll angle at the corners, to the top, to the bottom, to the sides, you can kind of focus that impact a little bit. That's a much better impression of him. That will do. Now I need a swivel knife in this next part. Kind of just freehand a web. We'll start out. I like to start out right here at the back of him, and then we just turn our leather as we go. And you want to come around here, start that leg. Just work out a little web design. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start over here, and we're going to come to about midway between these two lines, and we're going to turn the leather and head back the other way. And we're going to start right here at this line, come about halfway, turn back. And we're going to bring one down from up here. We'll come from the top. Don't have to be perfect. We just do the best we can. And then I like to come on this side. Just make a few. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can draw webs better than I can. But this is going to end up with the effect I want at the end. Okay, now I like to come around here and do a couple around the skull. Alright, there's kind of our web. Now this gentleman wanted his name on the web somewhere, so we'll probably figure a good place here for it. I think I'm going to put it right around here. And I made a press tool with a laser to be able to do this. This is one neat thing about having a laser is that you can cut your leather, you can mark your stitch lines, you can make press tools, you can make pictures, you can do all kinds of different things. Of course, it took quite a while to get to the point where I could afford to get one. I kind of don't want his name so low. Let me think on this a minute. Where would be a good name spot? I guess right there is going to be about the best spot for it. We just want him in the web somewhere. So we'll go right about there. There, we got his name in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tool around the outside of this with a camouflage tool real quick. And y'all, my old wrist has been, I sold the first 1,000 holsters by hand, and then I had to have carpal tunnel surgery when I first started. And so this wrist has been through quite a bit. Working leather can do a number on you. So if I'm going to tool for a little bit, I'm going to put on a brace just to keep from bending that wrist so much. Go around the edges. You notice how I turn my work as I go? Instead of just trying to go around it, you gotta move your work around with you. Whenever you tool, you want a piece of marble under you or granite, something heavy. We're gonna go out here and put some black on this real quick. Take this brace off because I'll have to wear some little gloves so I don't get my hands messed up. Got a cowboy holster drying over there I did earlier today. turn the fan on. I always like to have a fan at my back when I'm putting dye down, because you sure don't want to breathe this stuff. And a lot of times I'll wear a respirator too, just to make sure. Of course, I can't talk with it on, so we're leaving it off today and just relying on the fan. There's the crows coming in. There's 80 dog. These are just disposable gloves I get at Sam's for like food service. They're great to keep on your hands real quick when you put dye down real quick. I've got a gun for each color to make it a little faster. Put some black on this. Now, if you dye with a dauber, you'll notice how much faster this is. That's what I started out with, was with daubers. And then I went to a little airbrush, and I got tired of cleaning it, and finally I got set up with a compressor and miniguns to put my dye down. Let that set in the sun just a second. That dye is really soaking in quick. Dye is alcohol based, so it'll dry out the leather just a little bit, but we're going to condition it good when we're done, so that'll be all right. Let's go in here and set some snaps. Now, if you set a lot of snaps, get yourself a press, because you'll save in the number of snaps you mess up compared to setting them by hand. I used to set them by hand, but about 1 every 5 I'd mess one up. All right. Set this in here. Change our dyes so we can do the other side. I keep magnets on my press to keep my dyes put where they're real handy. All right, that's got our snap set. And I'll put the little gun in, line up, mold it just for a minute. This right here is Barge's leather cement. You don't want to breathe it in. You notice I've got another little fan to my back here, blowing the fumes out. This is thickened up a little bit, it'll be all right. We'll get this on, let it sit just a minute, and then we'll press it together and we'll go sew it. And then we'll have to sand and bevel and then burnish our edges. While that sits there for a second, I just finished a 45 Colt prototype. This is the 3rd round. When I make these, you have to get the retention just right on your shells. This last one was too much, pretty hard to pull out. This one, I backed it off just a little bit. That's about right. I think that will do. A little tight, but I tell you, there's a fine line between too tight and too loose when it comes to these. See, that's not coming out, but I can pull it out. Of course, I can pull these out too, but these are a bit more. I think we may have it. Next thing I'll do for this 3D printed part is I will make a cover that will snap on top of it, just so it's in your pocket, they don't get hit. I got a new P1S. I did a lot with the FL Suns. Last year I started designing and making some ammo holders, And I've sold quite a bit of them. They tend to do pretty good. But the P1S is just higher quality than the FL Sun as far as finished stuff. If you're looking to get a printer to make stuff that you plan on selling, I'd just get a Bamboo. They got a new P1S2 out I'd like to get, but I can't afford it. I'll have to wait a year or so we got some more money going. All right, those are about right. Let them sit there, and I think our dye is good, or not our dye, but our glue is good. Setting up. See how them edges aren't just perfect? That's okay, because we're going to sand that down and finish those up. Whenever you make patterns, make them a little bit bigger than you need them. Give yourself room to work the edges and not have to be 1000% perfect every time. When I sew these, we'll start out going forward. And this thing's about ready for a new needle, so hopefully being thin, it'll sew before I change it out. And now I'm going to turn it and go the other way. That locks your stitches. You want to do back stitch a few or flip and come back across them. Some things when you're sewing your pattern, you'll end up coming back across your thread and you don't have to back stitch. You just go forward and catch it on the back side. But I put about 50 pounds of thread through this machine. I probably wouldn't be in this house if it hadn't been for this Cobra Class 4. If you ever sew leather by hand, you will understand how impressive these machines are from the pain that they save you. Put it forward. All right. Starting to look like a little holster. And I'll come over here, take my head knife. This is how I cut all my leather before I had a laser. And I still use this thing every day, trimming up pieces and doing little things. Like if I wanted to, I could level that out with it. I have a vacuum cleaner, a Cyclone hooked up to my sander. Sorry for the noise. All right, get rid of some noise now. Here we have another beveler. Bevel these edges. All right, this right here is from Pro Edge Burnishers. I got it on a Harbor Freight buffer. And I do use the buffing wheel too on mine. Good smooth edges. Now we've got to burn our threads. thread burner sitting over here, not where it's supposed to be. I should have put it back, but it's all right. When you burn threads now, don't go straight in at the leather. What you want to do is go across the top of the leather like that. Well, yeah, all my batteries went dead, so I had to finish part of this without you. But all I did was I went out there and I put another layer of dye on it, and I put some edge coat on it, and then we brought it back in here. Now we're going to clean up the snap a little bit, and then we're going to add a little bit of highlighter, a little bit of conditioner, and this one will be done. We'll see how she turns out. This is just a little hand sanitizer on a microfiber cloth. Just rub that dye right off the snap there. Get around here a little bit. Good enough. Grab some more gloves because I don't want the highlighter all over me. What this will do is it'll bring out the carving lines in the spider a little bit, maybe the name a little bit, make it show a little bit better. There's highlighter. Now we need a sponge. We just use part of this one. You notice my sponges get smaller as I go till I replace them. But you want a damp sponge before you get highlighter so it don't get too much highlighter into it. This will give it a nice shine. We'll rub that in and we'll let it sit for just a few minutes, and then we'll hit it with some more Big 4 leather conditioner, and then we'll let it dry out in the sun just a little bit, and they'll be ready to ship. Well, you don't want to ship them if they're not dry though, because if it wasn't dry enough, it'd have to go tomorrow, because you don't want it being wrapped up in that package and not being able to breathe and being too moist, because then you risk it mildewing or just not being happy when it gets there. I'm going to pause the camera here and come back after it's dry. Alright, there we have it. It's dried enough. Let's put some Big 4 on here. This is more Big 4. Like I said, the Pro dye is an alcohol-based dye, which will dry out the leather just a little bit. But no worries, because this replenishes all the oils and stuff in it. They say if a cow could order it lotion, it would use Big 4, because it's Big 4, because it's good stuff. Buff on it a little bit. Now right here's a little thing I've made to open up pockets with on these. Instead of putting 5 shells in each time, all I gotta do is run this sucker in there once. Saves a little bit of time. Anything you can do to save time help you out, because the better you get, the more people want from you and the more busy you'll be. This time of year I usually work from the time I wake up to 7 o'clock at night, because 7 o'clock at night I'll have 2 poodles come down here. They'll tell me it's time to quit no matter what it is. Have to stop at 7, spend a little bit of time, but I usually start about 4 or 5 though, so that's a pretty long day. We got his name right there, M. Beaver. Nice little custom pocket holster. I hope he likes it. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below, and let me know if you learned anything, or if there's something I did wrong that I should do better. What you think. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.